Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ted Alexandro Show. I am your host, Ted Alexandro, coming to you from an undisclosed location in the northeast of these United States of America, where the snow is on the way, another winter storm. But that is not unusual all over the United States, even in places like Texas, Louisiana, Kentucky. Just insane winter storms have slammed dozens of states. Apparently a second storm on the way. Just what we needed, right? As if the pandemic wasn't enough. Here comes Mother Nature. She doesn't care about your vaccine. So, power outages, millions have lost power. 21 people died. Lots of good news coming at you in today's episode. I assure you there will be. The Ted Alexandro Show always promises a healthy dose of both the darkest of despair and the most uplifting of hope. So thank you for joining us, folks. We will touch a little bit on that. We will talk about the Amazon workers unionizing in Bessemer, Alabama, and teachers organizing in Chicago, and the fast food and service workers organizing in the Fight for 15. So a lot of uplifting organizing going on as well, and we'll get to that in just a bit. As always, we encourage you to, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button, ring the notifications bell, like this video, and throw a little comment down below. Get saucy if you like. We can take it. And if you wish to support the Ted Alexandro Show, you can go to patreon.com/Ted Alexandro. Lots of bonus videos, lots of bonus episodes, bonus stand-up comedy from the archives, unearthed strictly for patrons. And, of course, the Ted Alexandro Comedy Academy. That 11th episode is coming. We've got 10 up there already. I am in charge of editing now, so that is what the delay is for the 11th class. But I assure you, if you have been taking the Ted Alexandro Comedy Academy and you have been following the syllabus, those first 10 classes should have you occupied until probably early 2022. Nevertheless, the 11th class is on its way, and that one is called Let's Go to the Videotape, where I will be looking at an old stand-up set of mine from 1994. We will go to the videotape, and I think it probably was literally on videotape at one time. Now it has been digitized. So I'll be looking back at my old stuff and kind of breaking it down, and it'll be a bit of a tutorial about how to watch tape and what to look for, how to assess, what you're doing and what you need to work on. And believe me, there was a lot I needed to work on. So it's fun to look back. What is that? I'm not good at math. Is that 27 years? Thereabouts? So that will be coming up any day now. And again, that's at patreon.com/Ted Alexandro. So yes, folks, I was reading up on the story about the Amazon workers attempting to unionize to form the first union of Amazon workers in the United States. This is down in Bessemer, Alabama. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Why don't we actually, before I get into it, why don't we run the video? There's a video that I came across a few minutes long, but I think it's worthwhile because it kind of lays out what's going on down there. And I think it also kind of hits a lot of notes for what's going on between workers and capital whether it's Amazon or fast food or Kroger's, or, you know, we're seeing it all over the place, and certainly teachers even as well. But the dynamics between labor and capital. So let's roll that video of the Amazon workers down in Bessemer, Alabama.
Even when they go use the restroom and close the door behind them, they have something up there saying vote no against the union.
Amazon actually had the city to come out there and recalibrate the red lights so they can stop and chat with us.
They are coming and stopping us from working, doing our jobs, to basically ram the information in our heads about why we shouldn't have a union.
The kind of union bust that I've been seeing from Amazon has been very far-fetched.
I want to say around the first week in November, that's about the time they hired their union busters to try to disrupt everything, to try to confuse disinformation, and et cetera, et cetera.
I think they pretty much scared because don't nobody want to lose their job.
Why are we being punished for trying to seek help? We are supposed to seek help when we feel like we are being mistreated.
Amazon actually had the city to come out there and recalibrate the red lights.
There was a truck across the field that had been sitting there for about 2 hours. And so we went over to him and he said, no guys, I'm just here to do a traffic study. Right there at our red light where we stand. And then they stayed there for the rest of that day. And from that day forward, those red lights were completely different.
And the reason they do that is when they come down the exit, that red light will turn green. And they have to keep going. So they can't stop and chat with them.
A person might pull up and say, hey, can you answer this quick question for me? By the time she gets that out of her mouth, the light has changed green that quick.
Caused an accident since we've been out there. Big Mike almost got hit.
2 cars crashed and jumped up on the block where I was standing there. I had to literally jump off the block, get back up, and try to help the people to make sure they was okay. One young lady, whole front end of the car was off, so I was just luckily, by the grace of God, that I got out the way.
Every time we go to the bathroom in your stall, in the men's bathroom, as soon as you go to the stall, you got an anti-union flyer right there in front of you. You got flyers in the break room. You got when you walking in and walking out, you got big banners saying early vote, vote no.
It really touched me in a way when they started having the classroom teachings about why we shouldn't have a union, because as a part of leadership, I didn't get the proper training that I needed.
They're taking people to numerous meetings a day.
Some of the younger people are kind of confused. They're afraid because Amazon told them in the meeting that if you get the union, your benefits will be taken away, which is not true.
So, Amazon is plagued with that system.
They're scared.
And, they're not scared of us. They're scared of the people coming together and empowering yourself and finally saying enough is enough.
Amazon is moving in and they're dictating this. To me, it's like they putting their foot on their neck. They continually to keep them down, and that's not something that we're not gonna allow. The Black Lives Movement, we're not gonna allow that. The RWDSU, we're not gonna allow that. We're gonna stay here, we're gonna fight. We're going to continue to help, we're going to continue to fight and do whatever we think is necessary.
So you can see that the workers are attempting to organize and spread the word, and predictably, Amazon is pulling out all the stops to squash that and to put out propaganda against unionizing. And there is no dirty trick that they will not stoop to, even changing the traffic lights so that people cannot stop and engage with their fellow workers and discuss it. So if you pay attention, none of this is surprising, because workers have been attempting to have a voice in the workplace. In other words, what is it? It's democratizing the workspace, right? That workers have a voice. They have the ability to collectively bargain. And of course, capital, in this case Amazon, is going to do everything they can to squash that and to disrupt it and to discredit the union and discredit those that are attempting to organize and put it as an us versus them, and we're a big happy family, and these outsiders are trying to disrupt this happy situation where we're making trillions of dollars on your backs and you're not seeing any of it, and you can't make a decent living. But the Jeff Bezoses of the world and the who's the new guy? Jazzy? It's Jazzy and Jeff, right? They don't have any complaints because they're printing money while ordinary workers are living paycheck to paycheck, and now in the pandemic are working in unsafe conditions, on and on and on. So what will a union do? Despite the propaganda that they put out there, a union will give workers a voice. It will democratize the space so that they can speak out without fear of losing their job. Right? And that's really what any workplace comes down to. And that's why it's been so decimated in the past several decades. The labor movement has been decimated so that workers are afraid. They're afraid to speak out. They're afraid to organize. They're afraid to be labeled a whistleblower or labeled a malcontent. And as somebody who organized the comedians, I know that there are consequences that come, with this type of organizing. I was banned from 2 clubs. So obviously, this is the kind of thing that you really have to be committed to. And kudos to the workers down in Bessemer, Alabama for doing it, despite everything that Amazon is throwing at them. And I'm sure it will be the kitchen sink. And it reminded me of, my wife and I just watched the documentary on Netflix called American Factory. I don't know if it's been out for a couple of years or not, but I encourage you to check that out because it's identical to this story. It's everything in that documentary, it's very reminiscent. It's the same type of thing. The only difference being that in this documentary, American Factory, it talks about a Chinese company coming to the Midwest. I think it's in Ohio. Yeah, it is. And this Chinese company is trying to do all the things that Amazon is now doing in terms of preventing people from organizing, preventing workers from having a voice in the workplace, and pretty much, putting them in very precarious positions where they're afraid to lose their jobs and speak out, and also discrediting the union, putting a lot of propaganda, same things that we saw in that short video that ran before this. So yeah, it does. It buoys my spirits when I see workers organizing, as we're seeing in Alabama, as we're seeing in many states with the Fight for 15. People still fighting for a $15 federal minimum wage. Some states have adopted it. Others still lag behind. Others are still, I think, maybe $7.25 or $8 is the federal minimum wage, if I'm not mistaken. But whatever it is, it's not a living wage. Most economists, unless they're not in the pocket of big business, suggest that a living wage at this point would probably be closer to $20 an hour, with rents being what they are and all of the costs of living that people incur. So, my support is always with the people the Fight for 15 organizers. I was looking back at photos on Facebook, and some of the protests and rallies and marches Fight for 15 put on in New York that I participated in, that was back in 2015. So already we're talking about 6 years of fighting for 15. So wouldn't you think that in 6 years, certainly in New York, everything else has gone up? Cost of rent, maybe with the pandemic, certain places have pumped the brakes on that, but I doubt it. So it's all the same dynamics of workers and everyday people trying desperately to organize and to fight back against capital and its seemingly insurmountable grip on everything. So it is David and Goliath. As I've said many times in the past, it's the losing team. If you want to get involved in activism, if you want to get involved in movements, be aware you're joining the losing team. It's not a victory parade. It's not, a march where they drop balloons and confetti on you. You'll probably get other things dropped on you, maybe batons, maybe pepper spray, maybe tear gas, things of that nature. But you're joining the losing team, but you're joining the right team, and really the only team. And as getting back to the winter storm, with the climate crisis being what it is, and most climate scientists predict that these types of anomalies will continue to become more common. They will not be an anomaly. These bizarre weather patterns and these crises, natural disasters, where, as I said, 21 people have died. I believe 2 of those were from carbon monoxide poisoning because they were sleeping in their car, because they didn't have power, they didn't have heat, they didn't have water. So they were, I think it was a mother and daughter, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, I know it was 2 people sleeping in their car and died from carbon monoxide poisoning. So this is the state of affairs in America, in America. Lest we get too caught up in the pomp and circumstance of the new Biden-Harris administration and the vanquishing of Trump. Welcome, obviously, by many, probably by most. But this is the reality of what we're dealing with, So the combination of pandemic and as you zoom out, the climate crisis, these types of things will only exacerbate and probably get more frequent and probably get worse. So when I see workers organizing, the losing team, I am always down for that battle. I'm down to stand among them, and if only with my voice and with my words, and to amplify what's going on. I certainly stand with the Amazon workers in Bessemer, Alabama. I'm always heartened by people trying to do better for the whole, the greater good. And all of the workers organizing around the country with the Fight for 15. That's long overdue, and it's a travesty, really, that's not already implemented. As I said, that's been going on for 6 years, probably longer. And 20 is really closer to what a living wage would be. And then the teachers that are organizing in Chicago and standing up and saying, and other locations as well, with the pandemic, saying that they don't want to be forced back into situations where students are packed into classrooms that are poorly ventilated and workers don't have the proper PPE equipment. And particularly in the economically disadvantaged areas where, these things, as often happens, hit hardest. That's no secret that Black and brown communities have been hit harder by the pandemic, and that just stands to reason pretty much with anything that's going to happen. Both the impact and then the recovery are going to be slowest in areas that the government forgets about, that capitalism forgets about, that don't matter, if you'll pardon the expression. So these are the things that are both alarming and heartening. Because as I said, I promise, when you watch the Ted Alexandro Show, despair and hope. And I'm not going to say even in equal measure. I'm going to say it's 51, maybe as high as 52% hope, if you're paying attention. And I know that most of you are. Quickly, I will switch gears because I know many of you have been keeping up with SNL Zillow Gate, the People versus Saturday Night Live. My Zillow joke that was stolen by SNL just a couple of weeks ago. And I made a firm demand on Twitter, demanding that SNL Venmo me the sum of $1 million. To date, I have not heard from anyone at SNL, no representatives, none of their legal team have reached out. Is anyone surprised? I am not. I was not expecting to hear from them. What I expected was, on my part, I wanted to amplify the fact that I had done the joke first, that it's on my special in 2020. I'd been doing the joke since 2019. So that was the first thing. This is a joke that I'd been doing in New York at the Comedy Cellar, where SNL writers happen to come through from time to time. Secondly, it was an opportunity to amplify my work because, I don't have specials on Netflix, Amazon. Thank God. My specials are on YouTube. So this is a chance to drive more people there. And they've gone. People have gone. And they've watched, which is great. I think my special cut-up just went over 100,000 views. So that's very exciting. I'm thrilled that I think it's added like close to maybe 7,000 views in the last couple of weeks. So that has been part and parcel of this campaign, and letting people know that my joke was stolen. So a lot of people found out about the joke. They found out about what happened. They found out about me, which is great. It's always exciting when new people find out about your work. So as I said, I have 4 specials available on YouTube. Those of you in the T-Hive already know that, I'm sure, have watched all 4. And breaking, this is a news flash. I will be posting my very first special, As Much As You Want, talking about going to the videotape. My very first special will be posted on YouTube as well. As of now, it's strictly been on Patreon. But I think we posted it on Patreon maybe 5 months ago, maybe 6. But it's time, and we're going to put that up on YouTube as well so that the people, the masses, can see all 5 of my comedy specials on YouTube. So that is the latest. There is a change.org petition. If you have not signed that, I ask you to please sign that, just so that we can continue to create awareness. As I said, I said it last week. I've said it before. When you're taking on a corporate behemoth like SNL, the likelihood that they'll even acknowledge it is slim. But like all of these dynamics that we're talking about, fighting back against corporate powers and kind of the just that dynamic where the worker or the freelancer in this case doesn't have a voice or doesn't have an avenue to air grievances. You're kind of relegated to social media. You're relegated to a change.org petition. And thank goodness we have those outlets and those avenues. So that's what we're doing. And I've had fun with it, and I've had fun with kind of poking fun at SNL and calling them out and talking a little shit. Enjoy all of that. And also, quite honestly, just taking down the veneer that any of this shit matters. I don't care about SNL. It's this show that is kind of spewing a lot of neoliberal corporatism and has no edge, in no way is subversive, doesn't try to really address dynamics of power. It's kind of like one big red carpet. You might as well be on the red carpet where celebrities come through all the time, and this one's playing that character, and that one's playing this politician. It's all about, it's celebrity. It's a PR celebrity thing. It might as well be a red carpet. So, and that's a lot. You're not supposed to talk about these things in showbiz because everybody wants to get hired. You want to get hired for the next show. You want to be on SNL. But it's like so much of this bullshit is insufferable to me. And also the fact that people put up with it and the people bow down to it or keep quiet about it. That really, it galls me. It bothers me, especially in the arts, that my fellow artists, my fellow comedians don't speak freely, that you have to silence a part of yourself in order to play ball. And I get that that's part of living in America. It's part of capitalism. But it doesn't have to be. You can choose otherwise. You can speak out. But, I think part of it is a lot of people don't even care about, they're just trying to get theirs. They're just trying to get more followers, get famous, get whatever. Look, we all have to play ball to a certain extent. I'm trying to make a living too. Everyone's trying to do what they have to do or what they feel they have to do. So, you have to kind of assess what matters to you, assess what your goals are, assess what resonates with you. With me, I've kind of chosen my path. And talking shit about SNL is part of that. And calling out joke thieves when that happens is also part of it. But of course, wishing everyone well. Coming from a place of peace and love always as I throw my daggers. Once again, folks, if you have not, please hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, like this video, hop into the comments. Give me something saucy. Give me what you got. I want to hear it all. And support the show at patreon.com/Ted Alexandro. I'm very excited to welcome tonight's guest. The man is a dynamo. He is the ultimate hyphenate. He's a community organizer, community builder, community servant, speaker, filmmaker, writer. He's always up to good works for the community, for the world. I'm thrilled to welcome to the show LaShawn Sugar Ray Marston. Sugar Ray.
Yo, Ted, what's good?
There he is. How are you, my friend?
Yo, I'm hungry. I got the munchies.
Do what you got to do.
What's
Thanks
happening?
for making the time. I appreciate you making the time to come on, man.
Of course, I appreciate you, man. I feel like I made it. My career as an activist was falling off. I was stuck in the gutter, and then, you sent me a lifeline, and so I feel good to be back.
There you go. I do what I can, man. Well, as I said when I was introducing you, you're somebody who's always doing inspiring things, always doing good work for the community and trying to make the world a better place. You and I met first through when I was involved with Occupy Astoria, and there was some sort of event at one of the local high schools, and we just crossed paths and we kind of exchanged information. And I was actually looking back at photos on Facebook, The first photo that I could find of us together was 2012. Can you believe that?
Yes.
2012, man.
9 years.
9 years. So, as I said, though, like, you know, it's the blink of an eye, and you're always doing good work for the community. Now you've been involved with Wellness Wednesdays at Queensbridge. Can you talk about what you're doing with that and how it came about?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, let me give a shout out to an elder, Mama Santua Harris, who I met at City College doing some activism years ago at the Morales Shakur Center before they shut it down.
Did you know I went to City College?
I had no idea. I didn't even know you went to college. I thought you just was on the block. You know,
a lot of people think that. Yeah.
I think everybody was like on the block like me, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I first met Mama Santua at City College, and she told me to come by on a Wednesday. And she says Wellness Wednesday, and we're gonna promote wellness and do some stuff with plants. This is like 2012, around the same time I met you.
Wow.
And so I kept that with me. So on Wednesdays, what they would do there, just different activities around health and wellness, you know, taking care of yourself, taking care of the earth. And as last year happened, you know, and I've always been doing Wellness Wednesday, not so much food distribution, but just making a point on Wednesdays to acknowledge wellness, mental wellness, physical wellness, emotional wellness. I try to do it, you know, every Wednesday for the last couple of years. But last year, when we started doing the vegan food in Queensbridge on Wednesdays, right? We first started on Fridays. Then we did it every day for a point. And then we was only able to do it Wednesdays and Fridays now. And you know, I mean, it's like Wellness Wednesday, you know, vegan food. People who have been coming to us to get food regularly, my aunt being one of them. She's gotten well. She's gotten off her asthma meds, off of her high blood pressure meds. You know, she's lost weight. Her skin is clearer. All of the issues that she's had has subsided and been suppressed. You know, so she's like, yo, I feel so well. I'm like, yo, we're gonna do this. Like, this is part of our Wellness Wednesday. You know,
the right name, man. It's got the right name. Yeah. So how did it come about? You have like partnerships with like different restaurants and stuff like that, right? They provide the vegan food that you then transport to Queensbridge.
Yeah. So on Wednesday is a partnership with Urban Vegan Kitchen. Is a restaurant in Manhattan. Really dope restaurant, like probably the best restaurant I've ever been to in terms of the food and ambiance and the culture of the staff, people who work there. Is like grade A all around. But we were doing food last year, and we were doing some work with Queens Together, and they wanted to give us another day with food, supply food, but they wanted to like meat and stuff. I'm like, nah, I'm only doing vegan food in Queensbridge. I could take that meat, you know, other places, but out here, I'm only encouraging a plant-based diet. And so he said, oh, snap, I got a restaurant that wants to provide some food. And so he could make the connection. So Queens Together actually sponsors it. You know, it's not free. Queens Together is an organization that started as a restaurant association to support local restaurants, you know, during the pandemic last year. And so Urban Vegan Kitchen happened to be in that network. And so Queens Together actually pays for the food. The Urban Vegan Kitchen, then, you know, we pick up and give out for free in the neighborhood.
Wow. So it's kind of a team effort of Queens Together connecting with the restaurant and knew that you were looking for a vegan place specifically, and they hooked it up, and now you guys distribute to the people in the community.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
I just got in from doing that just now, 300 meals every Wednesday.
Amazing. And so that kind of thing is really so beautiful and necessary. And I would think so, even more so, like during the pandemic times where people are suffering even more than ordinary. Have you noticed a difference, or has it impacted the community in ways that are visible?
No, absolutely. I think what has happened was people's loss of work, right? Coupled with people's push to think about health more, particularly immune system, right? Has allowed people, the loss of work has allowed people to, or push people to put their pride aside. And like, you know, a lot of people in the hood don't take free food. Like, it's free, I don't want it. I mean, I got money, I got food at home. But that coupled with the fact that people are like, I need to eat healthier. You know, I need better food, especially they're seeing people, myself, my partner Miles, you know, my aunt, they're seeing people in the neighborhood who they know, who they've known for a while, you know, like report on these drastic changes, mental changes, emotional changes, physical, noticeable changes. So like, you know what, like, let me try it. And so it's definitely, you know, the pandemic definitely made that happen a lot in terms of health and in terms of people realizing that, you know what, like we all, none of us are making as much money as we was making before the pandemic. No matter what level you at. And I think that it was literally like a whole culture shift with the whole mutual aid, right? Like no longer charity, but like we all have something to give. We all have something to receive. We're a community and we need each other. Sorry, I think I just lost my light. Sorry.
That's all right. That's such an important distinction too, right? The distinction between charity and mutual aid, that you're kind of looking out for one another in a community, knowing that at various times one or another person might be in need.
Absolutely. And that's I personally think that through just my own thought and experience, and then just research, that charity is probably one of the biggest scams in the world, right? It's charitable organizations, because it doesn't change a person's situation. You know, coming and spending $100,000 on turkeys to give turkeys away for Thanksgiving is a tax write-off, and it sounds great, but like it didn't change anyone's situation. It didn't like help anyone, maybe save a couple of dollars, but like it hasn't changed, and people need sustainable change.
It's like a photo opportunity for one day, right?
Exactly, right? And people, what we need in the community, because I'm part of the community, not separate, is we need sustainable change in relationships, in partnerships, right? That are mutually beneficial, not you with money looking like, oh, you need me, so let me help you. And like, you might have a whole company, something that like a skill that I have, but because you're only thinking about you helping me, you don't really help me because I'm looking for work, right? And I can help your company big time, but because you're only looking at it as charity, you want to just give, then we miss the whole connection, and I really don't get the help I need because I'm still looking for work.
Sure. Yeah, it kind of sets up a power dynamic.
White supremacy. It's white supremacy is the action of the mental act of white supremacy, which is executed not necessarily by only white people. Is the idea of the patriarchal.
But white people are best at it. Let's
clearly
credit where credit is due.
Clearly, that's a fact. But yeah, man, we just shifting how we build community, and I think it's extremely important that to remember that no nation rises above or below, falls below, like, so everyone matters, you know?
Yeah. No, it's like I said, it's really inspiring to me, you know, because it's easy to fall into despair or to feel hopeless with so many of the situations in the world. How do you talk a little bit about your own transformation, and how do you kind of overcome giving into those feelings or those, you know, tendencies towards despair or depression? How do you find it in yourself to get out there every Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday and all the things that you do to uplift?
Well, number one is remembering that if it's a feeling, it's going to pass, right? Like a feeling is not a fact. A feeling is not, it's an experience, right? It's a real thing that happens based on an experience, but like it's going to change. You know, and the greatest way for it to change is for you to be active in your own change, right? Like it's easy, like we get sad, I get frustrated, I get upset, but I don't stay there. You know, I get active in, do I like this feeling? Do I like this experience? No, so let me do something to change it as quick as possible. And I've learned that the quickest way to go from sadness to happiness, to go from a place of despair to a place of gratitude and joy, is to serve. It's to figure out what you have, what you can do to offer someone else, even if it's just getting up and going outside. Right? Even if it's like selfish, like I need to get up and go outside, but know that in doing that, you are serving. You're serving yourself, and you're going to cross someone else who may need your light, your energy in some way. So remembering that helps me go forward. Remembering that like it ain't over until like I'm no longer breathing. As long as I'm breathing, like I got opportunity to make it what I want it to be, regardless of what it seems like, feels like, or is, right? Like it's fluid. We could change this. We could change the thing at any time. And so like that perspective has allowed me to like, even through like divorce, right? Even through last year, I lost 40 people that I knew.
Wow. 40
people I knew at least. I stopped counting at like 38. And at least, I don't even know how many more people passed, but at 38, I stopped counting.
Wow.
Right?
Was that COVID related or various things?
A lot were COVID related.
Yeah.
Some were, you know, one of my young brothers, King Shooter, rapper in Queensbridge, 27 years old, died from liver failure.
Oh, wow.
You know, a 22-year-old I know was shot and killed in a drive-by 3 a.m. at the store.
Yeah.
Right. So just remembering that, like, it's all part of the process, you know, like yeah.
And I know that you know, you've done a lot of things at Queensbridge too, like where if there was a shooting or if there was something that went on, you have done like both in terms of drawing attention to it, but as well as that, like serving as almost like mediator at times. So talk a little bit about like your involvement in Queensbridge, and just the what it means to you to be part of that community.
Oh, that's where I'm from. And it's the greatest place on earth if you ask me, right? Knowing that, believing that, I also know that is the potential to be the opposite, right? And I come from that. And so I experienced it, you know, prison, being shot, all these other things that come with street life. So still being in the hood, connected to the hood, some of the people who still live in that life, it just gives me a perspective that a lot of people don't have, like of not judgment, understanding why you upset at this dude and why you may want to shoot him, but giving you perspective on why you shouldn't, right? Why you shouldn't. I understand why you want to in your mind and in this perspective that you have every right to feel that way. Validating a person's feelings, but right? Like, but brother, we need to do better, right? Like that's like, what does that really solve? Does it eliminate it from happening ever again with someone else? Like, no. So like, just having that perspective, you know, I'm grateful that people are able to like, you know, like have the respect for me where they can come to me when they have an issue or like call me, or like if I hear about something, I ask somebody, like they're gonna be honest with me and be like, yeah, I did that shit, or like, yeah, that happened, or yeah, like so what you want to do? Like, it's like, yo, we need to find another solution. You know, so it means everything to me, you know, that I'm in the same community building where I was once destroying, you know, where I was once part of the problem, I'm now part of the solution. It means everything to me. And so I'm just, you know, just grateful to still be received by my community, and be in this position to like serve and build in this way.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good transition because I was going to talk about you as a writer also. You wrote a book dedicated to your daughter, Usha. Talk a little bit about fatherhood and how that has impacted your life.
Fatherhood is, this is my daughter.
Hi, Usha.
Fatherhood is it is every extreme, right? It is the most blessed experience and the most challenging experience, the most frustrating experience. I'm doing an interview. I'll tell you that. It is the most frustrating experience and the most joyful experience, right? It tugs on all your emotions, but it's by far, it's the most amazing thing, you know, to be able to cultivate life and like build
and nurture
and nurture and nourish and love another being. Excuse me. You know, but yeah, it's hold on. Usha.
We can pause. It's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
There you go. There's the answer. They answered the question for me.
But fatherhood is great, man. It teaches us. Like I've grown so much. I've learned so much about myself. You know, especially raising, you know, a son and a daughter, learning about that dynamic, that relationship between men and women, right? It's amazing, you know. And it's definitely like I became more aware of how my actions, right, and whatever they may be, how they impact someone else, even if not immediately directly, you know, like a ripple effect, you know, like I'll do something may happen, and I'm in a mood. Now later on, I get my children, and now they pick up on my mood that may not be so good. Now they feel, right? So like just realizing that you got to check your emotions, right? You got to like be in control, be aware, and also know how to like compartmentalize, right? Put stuff where it needs to be so you can handle the task at hand.
Yeah, no, it's true. I'm learning that too. Even with our 1-year-old, like you realize how quickly they pick up on if like something's not right, or if, you know, if your mood isn't right. So Yeah. Compartmentalizing. That's important.
It's so tough. It's so tough, you know.
It
But
is.
again, I think that, you know, if it's a situation that's presented to us, then we got whatever it takes to like get over it and get through it. And so all the challenges that I've experienced in parenthood, like I approached them with an open mind, you know, an open heart. Like what's the solution? How are we gonna get through this?
Yeah. Now, I want to circle back to you talking about white supremacy, which obviously is at the heart of so much of what goes on in America, even if it's not spoken about out loud. You know, a lot of the media channels through which we consume things and through which we kind of contextualize what's going on will not introduce the topic of white supremacy. But obviously, like as someone who lives in Queensbridge and is kind of surrounded by these neighborhoods that have been gentrified, and even like right around you guys, you're seeing gentrification kind of popping up, Long Island City and right around Queensbridge. How do you kind of process all of that? Because I know you have even relationships, you know, with elected officials and stuff like that. You're so connected to all of the kind of levers of power and how things work, and so you obviously understand what's going on. So how do you assess all of that and make peace with it, or maybe not make peace with it, but figure out ways to change it?
That's the key right there. It's not about, I think the problem in our society has been that everyone wants to make peace, right? People are afraid of conflict, right? And I get it, but no, when it comes to your peace, actually, right? Your standard of living, right? Housing, when it comes to education, it's time to get a little upset, right? And it's okay to be upset and be aggravated and be angry, especially when it's not due to like you're maybe being short-handed. It's not due to really lack of resources, but lack of distribution and equity, right? And so how I deal with it is understanding that for a lot of people it is a game, it's politics. For a lot of people it's business, right? And I just be as authentic as I can be, and like. If I see an elected official who I know, like we could smile, but like I'm letting you know all the time what needs to be done, what you should be doing, what you're not doing, and like what we're gonna do, regardless to what, and like you may be in danger of not having a job, right? Like, so all of that. Hold on, Usha, girl, I'm on the phone.
She wants to be on the show, man. She wants to be on the Ted Alexandro show.
And she could be, and she could sit here, she could rock. I ain't telling her she can't, but not crying. We ain't doing that on the Ted Alexandro show.
No.
You know what I mean?
You wouldn't be the first to cry, though.
Oh man, no, but yeah, just understanding that, assessing it by, although people say that the community is changing and that things are improving, I look at the people like myself who are considered the least, right? We're not homeowners, right? We're not the typical quote unquote working class, right? And what do we have? We have nothing. No one's supporting us. No one's throwing us a dog bone, and it's all good. That's how I assess it, though. So things are still messed up, right? And things are getting worse in a lot of ways. And so, like, just connecting with the people who see and experience, like I experience, and then those who have compassion, pulling them together, right? You have compassion, and so like you should want to help liberate humanity, right? Because it's not just like Black liberation is human liberation, right? So it's like really is a human thing, it's an American thing, right? Where are your values? And so assessing it like that, and calling on people and being bold enough to like call the BS out and like charge people like with like agency for something to do, what you can do to be involved in the change. Like today, I see one of my homeboys who I was in the streets with him. We was 10 years old doing burglaries and like selling drugs and stuff like that. I see him today. He pulls up in the car. He's like, yo, I see what y'all doing. I love what y'all doing. I'm like, yo, be involved. How can I be involved? I'm like, we want to feed people every day. So like contribute like $50 a month. He gave $100.
There you go.
He went in his pocket, pulled out $100. But yeah, man, that's the key, right? It's like remembering, like acknowledging that the power is not with the people, and like having the knowledge from research, from reading, from life experience, and from logic. Like doing everything I can to put the power back into the hands of the community, whether it's through food, through clothing, whether it's through creating art programs, right? Whether it's
And you've been doing filmmaking stuff as well, right? Filmmaking?
absolutely. That's my heart and passion is storytelling. You know, like I can't wait to do the Ted Alexandro film, the biopic. Know what I mean? Get money from SNL, get this money from SNL. Know what I mean? Do a Ted Alexandro biopic.
Then it's a done deal.
Real though. But yeah, man, just doing as much as I can to contribute to the like expression of like my community, of America, and of humanity.
Well, like I said, Sugar Ray, you've been doing the work for a long time, and you're always inspiring to me. You know how social media can be. You're like, but you know, there's so many things that pull you down. But then I see the work you're up to, man. It always warms my heart, brings a smile to my face. So I love you, brother, and I really appreciate everything that you do.
Yeah, love you too, man. We gotta talk more, figure out, because like there's always ways and avenues that we can connect and plug in, right? Like, I mean, you are an activist, right? You are an activist who happens to be great at comedy. That's how I see it, right? I think like the comedy is clearly that's who you are, that's what you do. But like who you are, you a person that like wants more better for humanity. And there's always ways to plug in, you know what I mean? So I always look forward to like speaking with you, and yeah, let's figure out how we can like plug in deeper and like change this world even more.
Absolutely, man. Let's do it. As soon as I get that million, we'll make it all happen.
Yes, sir. No, listen, on the all jokes aside, what's funny about that is that I'm about to launch a fundraiser at the end of the month, $1 million fundraiser.
Nice, man.
Because we need a building, we need to pay for these programs for 2 years, right? So like it's stuff that needs to happen. And we just, with the heat, we just did a Keep Queens Warm fundraiser. We raised $11,000 in 10 days.
Love it, man.
So, I have no doubt, like we put some like, and that was without any major promotion. Mm-hmm. That was without any events. That was just like a GoFundMe page and some flyers. So, you know, I think people are ready to rise.
There's always a way to do it, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, Sugar Ray, appreciate you. And I'll see you again soon. Hopefully sooner, you know, the pandemic's been crazy, but hopefully sooner than later, we'll connect.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother.
All right. See what's up with OSHA.
For real.
Thanks, buddy.
Of course. Love you, man.
Love you too. Sugar Ray, everybody. A more inspiring man you will not find. Whether it is feeding his community, providing mutual aid, parenting, speaking, writing, organizing. The man does it all, and as I said, is just a true source of inspiration, who is always doing good works for others. Thank you so much for joining us, LaShawn, Sugar Ray, Marston. Well, my friends, that is our show. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, if you would, hit that subscribe button, ring the notifications bell, drop us a comment, like this video. And if you wish to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Ted Alexandro. We thank our executive producer extraordinaire. She rules with an iron fist, but always a heart of gold, and that third eye is squeegeed, clean as can be. Thank you, Madeline Geraldine. I love you very much. Thank you to our music maestro, the man who provides all of the music for the Ted Alexandro Show. He is, of course, Pro DLC. Listen to his music anywhere that you stream music. And we thank our producer emeritus extraordinaire, who has still been on call. And hopefully that will be less and less frequent. But he has bailed me out already on a few occasions. Thank you, Professor Emeritus, Producer Emeritus, Matthew L. Weiss. Yes, sir. And thank you, friends. We will see you next time. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay indoors. And hopefully your heat is on. Be well, everybody. Till next time.